and welcome to my channel. My name is Nora and I'm a yoga teacher. I'm also a mom of 3 lovely children. I've got a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old and a 10-month-old, almost 11 months actually, she will be soon. So it's 2 boys and the little one is a girl. And I'm originally from Bulgaria, but I lived in the UK for just over 20 years, from my teenage years through high school and university and working there. I did some traveling after that as well, but we came back to Bulgaria about 2 years ago, so it's been interesting experience to, even though I am from Bulgaria originally, to come back here after all these years and to experience living here as an adult with family and children. So let's begin with the first thing that I struggle with. So that will be the infrastructure, the roads, the buildings. There is still a lot to be done, and I find it difficult to adjust to the lack of infrastructure or the poor quality of the infrastructure, the roads, as I said, the pavements that are either in a bad condition or are not there at all. Because coming here as a mom with children, with small children, with the buggy, maneuvering around, walking around. In some parts, we lived in Burgas, which is by the coast and by the sea. Burgas is a lovely city, but like most cities in Bulgaria, it has so much potential, it's beautiful, but the infrastructure in certain places are letting it down. So I'm not saying that it's all really bad everywhere, but as a whole, there is a lot to be improved. So that's the difficult part for me, just being able to walk freely and relaxed on the roads, on the pavements, with my kids, not worrying I'm gonna trip over somewhere. So yeah, that's again also the buildings like hospitals and other places that visited by the public. They also will definitely need a good renovation, most of them. The thing I miss from living in the UK is greenery, just having more greenery, even in a busy city like London, with millions of people living there. There's always a little green space where you can go to and escape and get some, nature in your life. And in Bulgaria, we are so lucky. We are surrounded by beautiful nature. The location of our country is really special, really beautiful. We have the sea, we have the mountains. You can go skiing in the winter, you can go to the beach in the summer, you can go to so many special, beautiful natural places. But people here don't seem to value so much that and think about creating green spaces for people in the place where they live. So in our neighborhood here, I noticed they're constantly building new buildings, but they're not leaving any space for greenery, and just a little park where you can go with your children, or just some more trees, planting more trees. But Burgas is not far away. It's about 10 minutes drive, so we can go there, and there's a nice sea park there, and that's really nice for fortunately there is a park that you can go with a stroller, with the kids with their bicycles. It's actually very family friendly, so that's a positive. At least we have that. But it would have been nice to have more green spaces and places where that are maintained, they're clean, there's no rubbish. So yeah, rubbish, we're still working on, that, and recycling as well. I notice here they are recycling, but for example, we have a container for recycling and the hole is that big, and I'm trying to push through all my recycling, and I have to do one by one, like every single bottle and then every single like cardboards one by one, which is not very practical, not very convenient when you're a busy mom and you've got children waiting for you. So we'll move on to the next struggle, the next challenge of living in Bulgaria. For me personally, as a yoga teacher, working here is a little bit different to working as a yoga teacher in the UK. Prices are going up. They're going up everywhere. For food particularly, quite expensive. It's quite expensive. So the salary you get compared to the expenses is not quite balanced. It used to be a little bit. It used to be cheaper here in many aspects, but it's starting to get expensive, just like in all around the world, in the West as well. But particularly working as a yoga teacher in a smaller neighborhood, in a smaller city like Burgas, there are of course opportunities, and there are people that are interested in doing yoga and attending yoga classes, but it's not as popular, or it's not as regular as it would have been in the UK, just because there are less people, and also the mentality is slightly different. Continuing with talking about mentality, so mentality, again, that's something that is a little bit different and a little bit of a challenge for me. We Bulgarians are a very interesting nation. There are some positive characteristics. We are open, expressive, and generally helpful people, hardworking as a whole. But there is this ingrained, I would say, negativity, a sense of not quite being happy with life. And I think there are reasons for that, because of the quality of life. As I mentioned already, some of the challenges, the infrastructure, the lack of greenery, all of those affect people's mental state. So it's no surprise. The salaries. So people tend to be a little bit more negative as a whole. It would be nice if I go into a shop and the sales assistant smiles and is polite, which can happen. It's not like they're all grumpy, but there is a large percentage of people in the sector of customer service, for example, they're not quite as nice and smiley as they should be to make your experience, you're going into their shop, so they should be actually happy to see you there and to make your shopping experience pleasant. And or going to a restaurant, anywhere, places like that, coffee shop. So people are a little bit, you may notice they're a little bit more grumpy, which affects the way you feel. If you go outside into the street and somebody is smiling at you, it makes you feel good, and it's straight away you kind of start to pass it on, you smile, the next person, you feel good, and it creates that positive energy overall. Whereas if the opposite is true, if the person that you pass the street is looking at you with a not very happy expression, or they're a little bit rude, and it kind of makes you feel the same way, it makes you feel unhappy in a way, and your day doesn't go as smoothly. So those things are little, but they do make a difference. So I miss the international feel that I experienced when I lived in the UK, when I traveled, meeting people from all around the world and experiencing their culture, experiencing even their language, their ways of being, so many things that you can absorb by meeting different people from different backgrounds. And the downside, the challenge that I meet here is that also because I'm at the moment stay-at-home mom and I don't get to go out and socialize as much right now, that's probably another reason why it amplifies the experience of feeling like I'm surrounded by less international people and then people from different places. So let's move on to the next challenge. When it comes to from a mom perspective, in the UK, again, I'm making lots of comparisons to the UK, but there were lots of options where I can take my kids to, especially like places like libraries and museums, that most of them are free. You can go to for free. So museums, libraries, parks, I know I mentioned that back in the challenge about greenery and green spaces, but places like that you can go and with your kids, and they're child friendly. So unfortunately there are not so many here. As I said, we have the Sea Garden in Burgas, which is a nice park. There are a few other parks in the city as well with playgrounds, but libraries, there's one library in Burgas which is quite fancy looking, quite new, but I wasn't particularly happy with the customer service there. I just want to expose the children to as much culture and knowledge as possible. So we're a little bit limited. Museums as well, just a couple of museums and that's it. Just obviously because we live in a smaller space, there isn't as much. So I miss those kind of places. I miss children's centers that we used to go to in the UK. There aren't any children's centers like that where you can take your kids. They used to be free in the UK. Now I think you just pay like £1.50 or something per child, but it's still not much compared to everything that you get. Every time we go to the UK, we go to the children's centers because I miss them, and it's just they're so nice. There's so many things for the kids to do, and they do singing, rhyme time, things like that. I also miss in the libraries, and you can go and sing and let the kids play, and I again expose them to an environment with books around. And my next point that I struggle with is the healthcare. The healthcare here in Bulgaria could definitely be better. Again, the hospitals, a lot of the public hospitals are in a pretty appalling condition, quite old. Doctors, you can get very mixed views, very mixed opinions. If you visit one doctor, they will say one thing. If you visit another doctor, they will say another thing. They seem to have slightly different practices. Some are more old-fashioned, the younger ones are a bit more up-to-date with the latest research. But again, you have to be just lucky with who you choose, and I'm quite happy with our GP. So I just remembered a few other things I wanted to quickly talk about and mention. I'm just pumping right now and I'm in the middle of getting ready to go outside, but I didn't want to miss all the points. So another point that I'm struggling with is the shopping, the grocery shopping. It was a lot easier back in the UK. There was so many shops that do online. You can do an online order and get it straight to your door. For us here, it's been a bit more difficult. I think there are a couple of options that you can do that in Burgas itself, but still, I think it's the system, the process is still not as straightforward as straightforward as it was back in the UK. And for a neighborhood like ours that is slightly outside of Burgas, the option of online shopping is not actually much of an option. I think there's only one online shop that offers delivery to here, but the options are limited still. And talking about groceries, we used to be vegan. We are not at the moment, but I'm definitely considering going back to that in the near future. But now it's a bit tricky, a bit difficult, especially after moving to Bulgaria. If you're vegan in a smaller city like Burgas or other cities, I think in Sofia, the capital, there was more choice. But still, overall here, my observation is that veganism is slowly, like vegan products are slowly starting to be more popular, but the choice is still much more limited than in England. And yeah, that would have been a struggle if we were 100% vegan, especially when going out to restaurants and places like that. People still don't really know what vegan means. One other point for shopping, online shopping, I do miss Amazon. I do miss like a site like that has almost everything and it's easy. You order it and you get it sometimes even on the same day or the next day. And here it's not quite as quick, the service of, you know, when you order or something online. There isn't an Amazon. There are some other similar online shops and websites that you can order from, but it's all over. It's a little bit scattered and you have to really search for sometimes for certain things. I am still adjusting. I think I'm still learning. I'm still relatively new here and still finding out what websites are good, where I can get my products from, whenever I need something. But yeah, the delivery again for us is a bit tricky where we are. It's not always easy to get it straight to your door because of issues with getting access to the building. Depends where you live. If you live in a block of flats or some kind of residence, if you live residential area, where depends on access, but it's not as easy sometimes. And in our case, mostly our deliveries get delivered to the post office or to Econt. There's two delivery companies, Econt and Speedy, the most common ones, and we have to go and pick it up from there, which can be sometimes a bit of a hassle and a little bit difficult, especially when you have children, to do, because it takes time and you want to save as much time as possible. You don't have as much time when you are busy with the kids. It's not all super negative or not everything is a challenge. There's definitely positives of living here. If you'd like a follow-up video with the positives and the good things about living here and moving back here, let me know. I would be happy to do that as well. If you have any further questions, let me know in the comments below. It'd be great to hear from you. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!